distinguished guests, members of Congress, and friends of Africa. It's my humble pleasure to be here standing in front of you to welcome you here in the Ghana House. My name is Angèle Kouemo. I'm the founder of Believe in Africa, an African diaspora organization that promotes African economic development. And I'm really humbled to be standing here in front of very distinguished guests. We are here, this is Congressional Black Caucus Legislative Conference, and we're here to celebrate African American. And this is a perfect timing for that. And I'm very thankful for the ECOWAS Ambassadors Group, for his Dean, Ambassador Bukari Stephen, and his colleague, to have the brilliant idea to use this time to honor our brothers and sisters here in the US.
Well, thank you so much, and good evening and welcome to the ECOWAS Ambassadors Reception honoring African American leaders here in DC. Also welcome to the beautiful Embassy of Ghana, the host for tonight's reception. If we could give them a big round of applause for hosting us. As Angèle mentioned, my name is Jumi Olabanji. I work at WJLA, ABC 7 here in Washington, and it is my sincere pleasure to serve as your mistress of ceremony for tonight's prestigious event. I would also like to have you note this month is African Heritage Month, for which DC Mayor Muriel Bowser has issued this proclamation right here. September is recognized as African Heritage Month in the District of Columbia to commemorate African Union Day on September 9th, 1999, which is now the anniversary of the signing of one of the founding documents of the African Union and the Sirte Declaration. And with that, we will move forward with tonight's program.
Thank you very much. I was just telling her that I have to check if she has a proper visa for coming to Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the activities for this evening, I would like to respectfully request that we all stand up and observe a minute's silence for our late colleague, Ambassador Adefuye. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. It is with particular satisfaction that I take part in this ceremony to welcome you all to the Embassy of Ghana, to honor friends of West Africa who have played a significant role in advocating for stronger US relations with the ECOWAS countries as well as Sub-Saharan Africa as a whole. This is the first event being organized by the ECOWAS Ambassadors Group, and Ghana, as a member of the group, is happy to host this historic event at this venue.
Please allow me to say thanks to the Embassy of Ghana for allowing us to use this magnificent edifice that we are seated under today. Had we gone to one of the hotels in Washington, I believe we would have paid more than $10,000. But Ghana being what it had always been in the history of Africa, the trailblazer for the independence movement in Africa, they have been again able to offer us this wonderful building. I'm not going to be long. I'm not here to bore you because we have very important personalities here that we are going to honor this evening. The purpose here this evening is to recognize and appreciate African Americans who have done so much in their lifetime.
It's now time for the awards portion of our evening, and as I mentioned a few minutes ago, tonight's first honoree is Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, Assistant Secretary for the Bureau of African Affairs for the U.S. Department of State. Ambassador Thomas Greenfield leads the Bureau in the Department of State focused on the development and management of U.S. policy towards sub-Saharan Africa. Her award will be presented this evening by His Excellency Daouda Diabaté, Ambassador of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire. I would like to invite Ambassador Thomas Greenfield and Ambassador Diabaté to the podium.
Excellencies, dear honorees, dear members of the Diplomatic Corps, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great honor and pleasure that in the name of my colleague of the ECOWAS countries, I'll take the floor to introduce, although we all know that she doesn't need any introduction, our dear sister, our dear colleague, and above all, our boss. Yes, our boss, the Assistant Secretary for African Affairs, Her Excellency, Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield. I have been given this heavy responsibility because the gift is heavy as well, to forward and give this award to our sister, to our colleague ambassador.
Colleagues in the African Diplomatic Corps, fellow honorees, fellow supporters of Africa. I am really honored to receive this award. I'm almost speechless. I was given remarks to make and I decided I wouldn't read them so that I can be short, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I will take my lead from my colleague here. But it really is an honor for me to be here among so many friends and to be honored with three phenomenal women, three sisters. Where are the brothers? Mel, thank you. It really is an honor, and I was telling Janetta when I came in that just being in the same room with her is an honor. So I am just, again, I can't begin to thank you. Karen Bass, our supporter on the Hill, who has made a voice for Africa on the Hill. Again, to be here, to be honored with you, just says everything to me. And then Flory, we go way back. We go way, way back. Flory has been there supporting us on AGOA and making sure that we have kept AGOA in the spotlight. And I thank Flory for that, and I thank Karen for making sure that it was, the legislation was extended and that we now have an AGOA for 10 years. Mel, there's nothing to say other than thank you to you. You have been the voice for Africa. You have been the advocate for Africa in this town like nobody else. And without you, Africa would be missing so much. So I want all of us to give Mel a hand of applause.
It's my honor to present tonight the ECOWAS Leadership Award honoring American for their pivotal role in favor of the African continent. We are here tonight to present to Congresswoman Karen Bass. As you may know, Congresswoman Karen Bass' commitment to strengthen the United States relationship with the Africa toward assisting the developing countries to compete in the growing global economy is outstanding. In her very first term in Congress, Congresswoman Karen Bass brought together legislators, advocacy and the group and the international leaders together to extend the third country's fabric provisions of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. As the Ambassador of the Republic of Togo, I'm deeply honored to have been asked to present the award to her on behalf of the Ambassadors Group, ECOWAS Ambassadors Group. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Working for AGOA and actually getting AGOA accomplished, yes, Ambassador Greenfield, we were worried. I was confident it was going to be done, but what worries me about Congress is that we just have this habit of waiting until the very last minute and knowing how much it meant every day we delayed it and the ideas of jobs being lost while we were taking our time. And we were taking our time because AGOA wasn't controversial. That seems so strange. If it was controversial, you could understand us taking a long time, but it was actually not controversial, and that worked against us in this instance, but we were able to get it done. And as the ambassador mentioned, all of us were together a few weeks ago in Gabon, and it was such an exciting time to be there, very different than 2 years ago in Ethiopia, where we were in anticipation. We can actually begin now to talk about the implementation of AGOA, and that AGOA is the first step, but what comes after AGOA, when we're able to really expand and deepen the relationship economically, socially, politically, and in every other way between the United States and the continent of Africa. So just know that I am extremely proud and grateful to receive this award and to continue our partnership, working together to make sure that our country understands the continent of Africa the way it should be understood today, as a land of opportunity, as a land that is moving forward, as a land with a population that is going to be much larger than any place else in the world, and we need to see it as a land of opportunity the way the rest of the world does. Thank you so much.
Our next honoree this evening is Ms. Florizel Lizer, the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Africa in the Office of the USTR. Ms. Lizer leads the U.S. trade efforts and investment in sub-Saharan Africa and oversees implementation of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, also known as AGOA. She also leads the interagency negotiation and implementation of a number of trade and investment agreements with sub-Saharan African nations. His Excellency M. Babacar Diagne, Ambassador of Senegal, will present the award to her this evening.
Excellencies, honorees, friends, I really feel very privileged to present this award to Flori. We all know her. As mentioned Linda a while ago, it's just being chosen to present this award to Flori is really a honor and a privilege for me. We all know her and we all like her for her extensive background in trade negotiations, and above all, her passion for Africa. We all know she's been very instrumental in the renewal of AGOA, but some of us new in DC didn't know that throughout all her career, she's been devoted to the African continent. She organized the first ever US-Africa Transportation Ministerial Help in Developing the Safe Skies for Africa initiative. As an associate at Overseas Development Council, ODC. As far as 1965, Lisa served as the ODC source person on Africa and organized seminars on relevant African issues related to ODC missions of increasing official development assistance to improving US trade relations with African countries. To cut it short, we were together a few weeks ago in Libreville, Gabon, 40 years later, and she is still tireless, hardworking, as passionate as ever in serving Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and honor to present this ECOWAS award to a great friend of Africa, Lisa Flores. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I do have a passion for Africa. I know that there is potential that is so untapped in the area of trade and investment and our economic relationship. And so I just want to actually have a plea that I make, because 15 years ago, when AGOA was first passed, the first AGOA, I don't know that Africa really understood what the opportunities were. And in fairness, they may not have been so ready. But now, with AGOA's extension for 10 years, thanks to Congresswoman Bass and others on Capitol Hill who were tireless in pushing for this, and many of the stakeholders that I see out here tonight who worked so hard on this. Now that it's been extended for 10 years, I feel like this is the moment that we can really work together to take advantage of AGOA, to maximize and utilize the duty-free access that Africa now has to this vast US market. And so my plea to the 15 countries of ECOWAS and the ambassadors here who represent those 15 countries is, we have not even begun to see how much you can do in terms of your exports to the United States. When we look at US ECOWAS trade, I mean, really, it does not reflect the greatness and the potential of so many of your countries. And so my plea is that 10 years from now, I will not be in this position. I know that my grandchildren and, you know, I'll be enjoying them more, hopefully by then. But I would love to be able, at that point, God willing, to say that in the last 10 years, with the extension of AGOA from 2015 to 2025, that the Africans had really come to a place of realizing fully the benefits of that particular program, and more importantly, to enhancing the U.S.-Africa trade and investment relationship more broadly. And so my plea to you is that you speak to all of the people in your respective governments, that you work closely with your entrepreneurs to help them to be more competitive, help them to get their products into the market. And to all of my friends and colleagues that I see out there who have worked so hard on AGOA for so many years from the very beginning, I ask that you be partners with the ECOWAS countries and with the other sub-Saharan African countries who benefit from AGOA, so we can all look back in 2025 and talk about how fantastically Africa had really taken advantage of that program. Thank you.
Our next honoree this evening is Dr. Janetta B. Cole, Director of the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art. Dr. Cole also serves on the Scholarly Advisor Board for the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, and I can say that we are all looking forward to the completion of the construction of this new museum on the National Mall. It's slated to open its doors next year. His Excellency Hassana Alidu, Ambassador of the Republic of Niger, will present her award. So please welcome to the stage Dr. Cole and Ambassador Alidu.
I thank God for today. There are days where you wake up and you know that God is with you. I stood up today. I was struggling with the cold, and I went to the World Bank to give a talk on the empowerment of women through STEM education. And I knew God was with me because somebody that I personally look up to as one of the finest, brilliant, eminent thinker, researcher, educator, and leader of our time, has spoken before me. And as African, my grandmother always told me that if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you are going. Professor Janetta Cole, as a graduate student, you gave me the strength to have clarity in my mind that as an African woman getting the opportunity to come to United States to study African study, I cannot complete it without studying also the faith of African American people. Through your work, I knew that as a black woman in this world, I had had an opportunity. Therefore, my work should allow other girls in this world, not only African and African American, but all girls in this world to have the finest educational opportunity. Through your leadership, I knew as an African woman, as a black woman, as a woman, I should not say sorry for being a leader. I should just do it because you showed the way. So today, it is with great humility that I thank my colleague for choosing me to give you this award. They didn't know in the academy we are like soldiers. It's very, very, very rewarding for me to know that today I was chosen to give you the Leadership Award. And I thank you for paving the way for a person like me. Thank you. But on behalf of all African women, children, boys, and men, but on behalf of all women around the world. Thank you.
Where I grew up, which was in the Deep South, in those wretched, wretched, wretched days of segregation, I was always given the counter-narrative, fortunately, about Africa and about African-American people. And among the things, Prof, remember, that is about the most distinguished title that I could give to the Sister Ambassador. Prof, my mother was such a source of inspiration and knowledge. And one of the things she said that I will never, ever, ever, ever forget is this: a woman will be known by the company she keeps. And tonight, what in the world has happened that I am in the company of this righteous sisterhood, in the company of Sister Linda? 4 decades, my sister now, Congresswoman Karen, Ah, Sister Florrie. But let me tell you, my mama also told me, find your allies. And tonight, not only am I in the company of this amazing and grace-filled sisterhood, I am in the company of one of the most wonderful, effective allies that any woman could have. Brother President Mel Foot.
Our final honoree for this evening is Mr. Melvin P. Foot. Mr. Foot is the founder, president, and CEO of Constituency for Africa. Mr. Foot has worked on African issues for more than 35 years through CFA, which is a 20-year-old Washington, D.C. based network of organizations, groups, and individuals committed to the progress of and empowerment of Africa and African people worldwide. His Excellency Sheikh Omar Faye, the Ambassador of the Republic of Gambia, will join him on the stage to present the award this evening.
I'm sorry I have not prepared or done any research for our brother here. I was given this very important assignment at the 11th hour, and I'm very pleased that I am able to be on stage with him to tell you how grateful the ECOWAS Ambassadors Group are, with the leadership of Ambassador Stevens, who is the Dean of the ECOWAS Ambassadors Group, and our host, the retired General Ambassador Smith, who has asked us to come to Ghana House on this very important occasion. It is an evening of contentment and gratification, and we cannot ask for anything more other than to say to our sisters and brothers that your African brothers and sisters are here, and we have opened up our arms, and we are asking you for your continued support and guidance in order to restore the lost glory of Africa, in order to complement and consolidate the gains of our forefathers. Mr. Melvin Foot has worked on African issues for more than 35 years, and he is the founder and president and CEO of the Constituency for Africa. For over 20 years, he has tried tremendously to bring our peoples together. I arrived in Washington, D.C. about a couple of years ago, and every time I have found him, he's always told me one thing: what can we do to help you? When I was Sergeant at the Gambian embassy here, until when I was promoted to be an ambassador, this elder brother, like a host, like a godfather, has always saw me, embraced me, and asked me, let me know whatever I can do to help you. I have the singular honor and highly privileged and indeed humbled to have the opportunity to introduce this very illustrious son of the land, and will therefore have the opportunity to give him this well-deserved award that is given by the ECOWAS Ambassadors Group.
Oh, wow. Voila, come on. Okay, look.
Move a little closer. Okay, yes. The picture,
There
yeah.
you go. I think I got a little bit of this is absolutely historic in nature, it's a gesture that means so much to us. We're going to fight for Africa no matter what, we're going to fight for Africa. People ask me all the time, Mel, where in Africa are you from? Where are you from in Africa? I say, I'm from Cape Town to Cairo, you know? And I don't want to know anything more. Don't tell me I'm from a little small country, you know? I'm from the whole continent. And you can add to that Jamaica and Trinidad, Brazil, and here in the United States. Boy, there's just so much, it's impossible to follow a genetic code. That's an impossible task. I was trying to say, okay, let me change my cadence, my sisters and my brothers. But it don't work for me. It don't work. And let me say something to the brothers. Listen, I'm standing up for you too. Huh? This is for you too. Times have really changed. Because when I came to Washington, if you had some kind of award program for Africa and you had 5 honorees, 5 of them would have been men, you know. 5 would have been men, you know. And look at today. And we aren't talking about women who are figureheads. They're running the show, you know. So I want to also acknowledge, shout out to my brother Omar Aruna, my special ambassador. And Omar and I are friends from 30 years at least. And the day he became an ambassador, the president asked him to serve, I get this call from Cotonou, Mel. And he was all excited, and he asked me, could I call Linda Thomas Greenfield and check in with her, see if it's okay. So I, of course, sent a note over there. So I'm doing diplomacy. This is shuttle diplomacy at its best. But I want to thank you for what you do and your effort. The Ambassador Corps that we have in Washington today, they want to change things. They want a new paradigm for U.S.-Africa relations. And I think that this is a great first step. So I think this is a great first step. So we're going to look at how we can be reciprocal, how we can actually strengthen this bond between the United States and Africa going forward. So I just really want to thank the ambassador group, Ambassador Stevens. I want to thank the ECOWAS ambassadors. I want to acknowledge my good friend Adi Adefuya. We're still shocked by that, you know, but he's smiling also. You know, he's smiling also. We're doing the right thing. So thank you very much for this honor, and we look forward to stronger cooperation and support of Africa going forward. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
If all the ECOWAS ambassadors could also join us on stage for a picture. Well, to close out this wonderful reception, I would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Omar Aruna, Ambassador of the Republic of Benin, to come to the podium and give closing remarks and words of appreciation. I also understand that His Excellency just celebrated a birthday yesterday, so if you see him, wish him a happy birthday.
Thank you very much for the birthday, which I didn't know it would come all the way here, though. Please make sure that you get some food before you leave. However, dear Excellencies, colleague ambassadors, dear honorees, esteemed guests, I am much honored to be able to provide closing remark and appreciation this evening. Before I go on, let me first and foremost congratulate our honoree tonight. Tonight's honor might just feel like another recognition to you or to most of you. However, this is for us a very big deal. Yes, a big deal because it reflects our region, the ECOWAS region, approximately 300 million people's sentiments for the work each honoree is doing daily on behalf of the two continents. Then again, you have 15 ambassadors coming to an agreement unanimously on a set of few names. That in itself is a big deal. For making that consensus alone, you deserve something. That is true. You are a bridge builder. You are a pioneer. You are brother and sister keepers, and the ECOWAS group of ambassadors salute you tonight for that, and we say to you, please keep on keeping on. This event wouldn't have been possible without support of our sponsor. So allow me in closing to thank ExxonMobil, who is represented tonight by good friend Chinozo, Chevron, who is represented here by another good friend, Mamadou Bey, Angel Kwemo of Believe in Africa, as well as Akadi Wallace. You did a marvelous job putting the event together in such a short notice. Thank to Bukum Cafe for delicious food that we're about to taste. And then again, thank everyone for making it tonight and have a very nice evening. Enjoy the food. Thank you very much.